So, good evening. Welcome back to episode 2.2 of the Black Feather, an Ospreys rugby fancast, and you'll be pleased to know that Marc P's back with us this evening. Yay!
Back
Good
to
to
full
be back.
compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoyed listening to last week, but we had not been involved. So,
We did
season
miss
2
you.
can officially start tonight now, can't it? So,
Well,
Yeah,
should we
if
call
it-
this episode 2.1.1?
yeah.
It didn't feel right starting the season without you, to be honest, Mark. I was like halfway between sort of celebrating and delaying the sort of gratification till this week because didn't
Well, it's
want
very
to
nice
have
of
you
you to
feeling
say,
left
but-
out.
You know what, though, right? I nearly led with, it's return of the Marc. Come on. Nearly.
Oh, you should have done. We should now restart
I
the pod
should
again and go with that.
restart it and do it. But it did, like, that was what was in my head. But yeah, we're back for season 2. We've, decided that actually this is episode 40. So we are 40% of the way towards before us having a new black feather tattoo to commemorate us.
A new tattoo will be the very first one for me.
Okay, I'll hold your
It's gonna
hand.
be-
It's fine.
You'll have to.
I don't know
no
if I'll have any
matter
body space left.
no matter how little we mention this, Mark, me and you, Sam still remembers. So it's going to happen, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's happening.
It's gonna.
You have met me. I am force of nature. You do know this, don't you? I'm just,
Yeah. What season? We'll be in the 27, 28 season, won't we? By the time it comes around.
Yeah.
Depends
Take a bit of
if
time
we
to
do any
steal myself
specials.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Don't be a baby.
Well,
But,
we won't have a Lions tour in next couple of seasons, although we will have a World Cup. But yeah, there shouldn't be as many episodes through the summer, I wouldn't imagine.
No, I think we should just do one a month now, I reckon, instead of weekly, just to sort of delay it a little bit longer, I reckon.
You are both big girls. Behave yourself now. But anyway, we're back. We're glad you're back because, to be fair, me and him are idiots together. You are the glue that holds this together and holds us to account.
God, am I the sensible one? Bloody hell.
Do you know what? If we're
That's
ever in
scary.
trouble and you're looking at me for an answer, then we're in very deep shit. Something's very badly going wrong. We were talking about you last week, though, because we were wondering about school holidays as a teacher, and we know you're not a teacher anymore. Yeah, what's the school holidays like as a teacher? Because I'm guessing you don't really get a holiday because you've got to prepare.
No, I don't know. I did listen last week. I did make a point of listening, despite the fact I wasn't on it. I could have been bitter and said, no, screw you, I'm not listening, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to be honest, I was worried about having a July and August where I had to work. But if anything, I actually enjoyed my summer more because I wasn't absolutely knackered. Because normally by the end of July, I'm on my knees from work. I then take 3 weeks to recover, 1 week in the middle, maybe where I feel good, and then 2 weeks of building back up from going back to school again. So we hardly did anything in the summer because I'd just be exhausted. Whereas this summer we've been canoeing, we've been out,
You've been loads of places,
all over the place. We've had
you?
a really, really lovely summer. So actually my energy levels are way higher from working all summer. So there we go. Should have done it years ago.
That's good. That's good. I got a day off on Friday. It's the first day off I've had really since May, because changing jobs and holidays and whatever, and I'm really looking forward to it. I hate to mention the C word, but me and my mum are going to Cardiff and we're going Christmas shopping because she wants to get stuff done early this year. God. So I'm down with that. It saves me running around like a blue ass fly in November. But yeah, we did miss you. We missed the sensibleness of you. And we just had a bit of a chat, really. But we're back to business this week. Now, Rod and I, we saw each other last night. We went to the Ospreys meeting about the Welsh Rugby Union consultation. We were both very cutchy in our jumpers. We were dressed for the season, had a bit of a snuggle. And we went to the party pavilion. And we had a really, really, really positive evening. I it was so nice to see so many people that came out, easily in excess of 250 people there, you know. So really pleasing to see that people came down. We know people like Garrett and Sean travelled for an hour to come down. I know other people came as well from further afield. So it was really lovely to see people coming out and wanting to hear what Ospreys have got to say. From me, the main thing that I took away from it was how positive the interaction has been between the Ospreys and the Welsh Rugby Union. I think there's a lot that's played off over the summer within media, social media, and I really like how Ospreys have taken the high ground with everything. They've not kind of dragged themselves into the mud and flung any dirt. They've just said, you know what, we're discussing this direct with the Welsh Rugby Union. We don't need to play this out in front of anybody else. We're just going to do us. We're just going to have our conversations, and we're just going to act like the professional unit that we are, you know. And I think for me, that's what came across. Lots of positivity. We have to give a massive shout out to Rob Stewart, Councillor Rob Stewart, who's the leader of Swansea City Council. He was there last night. He was there for the entire evening. Lance called him up onto the stage, because the other thing that I really liked, I've used something called Slido before. And it is an app that lots of businesses use, where if there's a large number of you in a room, get the QR code and it takes you to a specific space, and you can vote in polls, you can put word splurges down, you can put comments and questions down. So they really embraced the technology yesterday, so that it wasn't necessarily the person who goes, pick me, pick me, pick me. It all came up on the screen. You got the ability to vote on what questions and everything.
It facilitates everybody having a voice, doesn't it? Not just the loudest person, which, you know, can often be the same people over and over again, can't it? So it was a good, diverse conversation in that way, but it also filtered out. I don't know, the nutters.
Yeah, we could see the questions. And there were people who were banging on about Neath again, but it meant that they could skirt around that and just deal with the meat of the subject, really. And what I loved, as I say, was Councillor Stewart coming up, because one of the questions, and a lot of the questions, were about St Helens, how committed the council were to invest in. And do you know what? When Tom Cruise went on Oprah and he jumped up and down on the sofa about his relationship with Katie Holmes, he was very Tom Cruise. He was like doing the gestures. He was going, we're in, we're backing you. There's no doubt, you know, we're there. And someone said, well, what about the PRA? And he's like, listen, we are backing you, providing we get a PRA that is similar to or the same as what we were going due to sign in April. We are all in. The council is behind you 100% of the way. And I think your feeling on that was the same as well, Rod, how positive he was.
Yeah, a lot of fist pumping and just sort of riling up the crowd, which you wouldn't do if you weren't quite confident in either your own position or, you know, the eventual outcome. So yeah, but he was very much calling out the WRU, wasn't he? As essentially saying that, yeah, pull your finger out. They are the only stumbling block at the moment, and as long as everything goes favourably on that end, then they are 100% behind the St Helens project, which was really fantastic to hear. I don't know what his background is, whether he is an actual Ospreys fan and whether that's driving sort of some of his enthusiasm, or whether he just really sees the benefits of this for Swansea, the Bay Area, the university, the schools, and wants to support it for that reason. But he was so positive. Yeah.
And I just think it's massively positive for the Ospreys, but it's massively important for the local community, the community clubs, the grassroots structure around it, the things that they're planning to do in phase 2 with the training barn and everything else. I just think it's something that everybody in Swansea can get a use out of. If their kid plays sport, if their kid is involved in rugby, then they're going to be able to play there. The pitch is going to allow them to have an absolute, not hammering, but it's not going to need the care and attention that grass has. So you are going to allow, you are going to be able to have kiddies tournaments and all sorts of things going on there. So I think it's a really positive thing for the local community. And I think the value that it can bring to local businesses, I think a lot will spring up around that area to facilitate that match day need.
I mean, what I like from what you're saying,
event.
And from what I've seen over the summer as well, is that united front from all stakeholders within the region. As you say, we've got the owners, we've got Lance and the board, Swansea Council, everybody giving the same messaging, everybody on the same page. We haven't had anything like, the Dragons that is, threw out that quite inflammatory statement. The Scarlets with their new owners and the uncertainty around, well, not new owners, new whatever you want to call them. They're going to facilitate a sale for the Scarlets or whatever they're doing. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of kind of friction, it seems, around some of the other regions, whereas everything that's coming out and all the messaging that's coming out from the Ospreys is very unified, isn't it? And very well thought out, I think, as well. The whole summer, it's been very well managed, I think, from everybody within the region. So I think congratulations to everybody and how it's been dealt with in what's obviously been a really tricky situation and what they can and can't say with so much speculation around as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull out a big word by you now. Everything is quite symbiotic with the Ospreys. It's all very interdependent. You can see those relationships are there. And a lot of reassurance was given as well about Y11 being their backers. The things that I have to be honest, I knew certain things about Y11, but there were certain things that Lance said that I did not know, which really impressed me, which is saying that, they're a globally recognised sports and media company. They've got investment in 3 pro rugby clubs. They've got 60 mass participation events that take place. They've got 38 football academies. They've got so much that's going on, and they're backed by a capital group above them who've got a 5 billion, and that's billion with a B, turnover. Their I've had a bit of a Google today. Their credentials are spot on. There's nothing there that red flags me. So, if anybody were worrying about the commitment to Y11 have been completely honest and said, because of this and what we're making with this, we can afford to put this money into Ospreys. And they've got that local connection with the area. Like no disrespect to House of Luxury, but there's no one involved in that was from that area. The woman is from Pontypridd Way, the guy is South African, Moffat is Moffat, do you know what I mean? He's an Aussie. So we've got Y11 who are, dad played rugby here. He grew up here. They've got that local connection, so it is there.
And obviously, the Ospreys is part of this this global network, isn't it, of rugby teams, not just sports associations and sports clubs and teams, but rugby specifically, allowing them to do that chopping and changing and redistributing players between the different leagues. And that doesn't work for them if they haven't got, at least 3 teams. They may well be looking for more, but it certainly wouldn't work as well with 2 and obviously impossible with 1. So I think we're integral to how they're approaching this sort of market. So Lance certainly tried to hammer across their commitment to us, didn't he? And when you started talking about their operating budgets, we know that we're in a decent financial position, even if the worst happens, they've got so much financial weight behind them that they'd be able to sort of weather any storm that they'd encounter in rugby. Because we're not talking football budgets and football sort of pay scales, are we? This is a small fry in comparison.
And they're not private investors. So, look at what Cardiff had to rely on with Peter Jones and whatever, with regards to his money going in. Once he passed away, Cardiff were screwed, basically. So we're not in that position. But again, the positivity coming out of Lance was fantastic. He was saying, do things need to change in Welsh rugby? Yeah, they do. However, not everything in Welsh rugby is broken. We're just not using some things to the best of their capability. So even if we just change processes on some things, then we would see that improvement take place and we would see that change. He ran through the pros and cons of all the different operation models, which is keep 4 regions as is, have 2+2, which is 2 higher funded regions with sort of 2 development regions, a bit like the Irish system. You had 3 regions on equal footing, 2+1, which is 2 larger funded regions with 1 development region, and then you had your 2 regions. There was a poll that was done within the room from the fans, and surprisingly, nobody really voted for the 2 regions thing. I think we all know changes needed in Welsh rugby. That is not it in my opinion. Loved the positivity that came out about the club about making player pathways better, linking better with the SRC, but making sure that kids grade rugby, they've got that opportunity to come through at 14, 16 and 18, and that they're in a professionally coached environment. So they are having the skills. So when they are hitting the region academies at the age of 16, their skill sets are locked in. They can pass, they can kick, they can carry, they know how to scrummage properly, they know how to tackle. So they've got the basics, they've got the skills.
And he took the time to say the same for the women's game as well, and talked a lot about his time at what was Gloucester at the time, and then became under his leadership Gloucester Hartpury, the women's outfit, and they've obviously gone on to great success. So he was drawing comparisons, and what was interesting was he was saying how in that case study from a few years ago, it wasn't that they needed to match the funding of the men's, not even close. It's a small fraction of additional investment to get the same sort of returns out of the women's game. So, he was saying, I think he quoted the number 100,000, which he said, is absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of running a rugby team. And you could really make some sort of headway with just a pot of that sort of size. So God knows what you could do with more than that, doubling that, 200,000, 300,000 again. So that seems to be, he seems to be focusing on that as well. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, because it's sad, obviously, the World Cup has shown just how far behind the Wales women team is, just as the men's team is as well. Really, it's really highlighted just how out of touch we are in terms of the bigger countries. The England, Canada's.
I have loved watching the Women's Rugby World Cup. I'm really conflicted about the final because I follow a lot of the Red Roses girls on social media, and I love the likes of Hannah Bottoman and Sarah Byrne, and the way that they are and the way that they conduct themselves and the way that they engage. I also follow quite a number of the Welsh players, and again, I love seeing that little bit of razzle dazzle. I'm trying to think of the Canadian girl's name. She came out on the weekend and she had glitter freckles on, she had sparkly eyeshadow on, she had the most fabulous bow in her hair. She was a machine, absolute machine. And looking on Twitter, so much hate for her having that makeup on. Do you know what, mate? If you went on the field and went up against her, she'd screw you over every single time because she's hard as nails. She was phenomenal. The try she scored was amazing.
How fantastic would it be if Canada were to win it, to have a team from outside of the traditional rugby elite winning a World Cup would be just massive for the global game. I think that would be huge.
I was listening to the the lady who coaches Japan, she's actually Canadian, and she was saying a lot of the Canadian players are playing in France and England because that's the competitive level that they're at, and they've had to crowdfund massively to be able to get to the World Cup.
Yes.
And I think where Wales ladies have fallen foul is a lot of them are playing in the PWR, but unfortunately they're second or third choice, so they're not getting gameplay. So yeah, they're playing professional sport, but they're just not getting the chance to run out.
And that's priorities, isn't it? The RFU, their goal is to develop their own players for their own national team. And whether it's explicit or implicit, there's systems in place to make sure that those girls get the primary sort of experience and time on the field, isn't it? So you can't hold that against them. What we need to do is create the environment for them in Wales. And taking that back to Lance Bradley, that's essentially the point that he was making. There's been a lot of public and media comparison saying, we're losing this funding for the men's just to, have two women's teams in their place. And he was saying it's not that direct comparison because they are not run the same and they do not cost the same. And that goes back to, the fact that it'll take a fraction of the funding of the men's to be able to get the women to a similar place. So anyone out there who's drawing that comparison and saying the men's teams are going to be, at a detriment due to the women's, it's just simply not the case. And he wanted to get that across.
And the money invested is perhaps the salary of one of the senior Welsh squad players. It's not anywhere near like the top stars or the top stars who are playing Welsh rugby, women's rugby at an elite level, are perhaps only earning 30 grand a year. As Alona Mayer says, she doesn't earn her money through rugby. She earns her money through her brand deals and her social media. So it was really lovely to see that focus on that, because I would love Wales to have women's rugby teams playing. I would happily go and watch that. As I said, I've loved watching the Women's Rugby World Cup. I think I'm going to go for the Canucks at the end of the day because I love me a little bit of an underdog. It's like Jamaica going to the Winter Olympics, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
Rod's looking blank now. Cool Runnings?
Cool Runnings.
Yeah, I know Cool Runnings. Of course I do.
Santa, you dead, man? Some people, they can't believe Jamaica got a bobsled team.
We got a long way from Lance Bradley now, I think. But...
I know. Yeah. We're literally...
I was just going to
went through
obviously lots of talk about the long-term future of the Ospreys last night. Was there much talk in terms of the immediate future, in terms of set up at the Brewery Field this year, in terms of the season ahead, or was that kind of not really discussed in much detail?
Not too much.
In terms of the long-term questions, there was a few questions asked, including one by myself, around whether Ospreys are able to conduct business for the sort of 2026-27 season and beyond. Are they currently signing contracts beyond that, or is everything really short-term, whether that's new contracts or contract renewals? And he said things are being signed 26-27, but not much beyond that.
That's reassuring then, yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously that's not going to be in every case, but where possible, I guess they're trying to give players as much security as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did go through each of the models one by one, pros and cons for each, and some were pretty clear cut. Obviously a really bad choice. But the ones in the middle were maybe, if we're going to accept that something's going to happen, there were some options that definitely looked better than others and certainly seemed to be preferred by Lance and the the Ospreys team behind the scenes. So I don't know how much we can allude on that, because anything that we see,
can't we? Yeah,
we can wait and see. It's not long now, and anything we do say is based purely on body language,
speculation.
And that's all speculative, isn't it? So what I would say is that when it came to the 2+2 model, which might seem at first glance like, that could be a workable one, Lance wasn't very convinced by that.
Financially not viable, I don't think.
Saying that, he basically said even though two would be on greater funding and two would be on lesser funding, that would still eat up a significant amount of the overall budget, not allowing any of them to compete very well anyway.
No.
You know, almost a word for word quote from him on that one was, "I'm not sure it would achieve what we all expect it to achieve."
Right.
So I think if it's from some of those middle options,
Right.
maybe three teams is preferable to 2+2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
the
yeah,
reality is
again,
there's probably an awful lot that couldn't be said last night. There's a lot of discussion that's gone on that Lance
yeah,
probably couldn't comment on.
yes,
And probably lots of things that he would like to have said last night. I'm sure that he wasn't able to,
yeah,
you know, due to the restraints of the discussions that are going on at the moment, and rightly so. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
For example, I asked quite a pointed question along the lines of, are Ospreys making preparations at the moment to potentially legally challenge the WRU if it goes that way? And, you know, he said everything is on the table and everything is being considered, but, you know, we can't actually speak to that
Yeah.
question.
no,
So,
And,
exactly. Yeah.
you know, he did say whatever happens, someone's going
there's
to
yes,
be
but no.
unhappy.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
You know, someone's going to be unhappy, and there is an element of you take the risk of there being legal challenges around it. A
Yeah,
lot was again discussed about the English Prem because a lot of questions came through about joining the English Prem. It's no secret the English Prem wants to extend, and the people that they've got who could potentially join at the moment, A, don't have the grounds that are suitable enough, and B, don't have the funds to get them into the English Prem. There's also a fact that we've got a contract with the URC, so it's not quite as easy as saying we'll just join the English Prem. I thought his explanation around that was really, really good about contracts, timeframes, you know,
and
and
permissions.
everything, and
Yeah.
permission.
He made the case that the Exeter preseason game needed permission from both the WRU and the
And the
RFU.
RFU,
So
right?
you know, even if we were to try and operate outside of the umbrella of the WRU, we'd still need their permission.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That they may not
yeah,
give
So,
anyway. Yeah.
no,
If they're going to play
yeah,
hardball on that one
and
as well. So
it was just overall, the tone was we are doing everything that we can to secure our position
yeah,
as a region. You know, he was asked had they had contact with the other regions, and he said that he's got a really nice relationship with the owners of the Dragons. A little bit difficult because of Cardiff's current ownership under the WRU, but he does speak to the guy who's interim CEO there.
hmm
Scarlett's previously, yes, but obviously the debacle with planning has kind of shoved things up in the air. So I think there was an entente cordiale there that potentially, you know, wasn't thing. But I took away from it that we are in safe hands. The way that they're conducting themselves is very professional. It's exactly the way that you would expect a business to be run. Because let's be frank, you can put all the emotion in the world into it, but it is a business at the end of the day. So we've got to be frank about that, really, and accept that. You know, ultimately the goal is to be self-sufficient and is to be breaking even or making a profit. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's and that's it. So I was quite pleased I went. It was well worth the 2 hours of my time that I went. I
yeah,
thought he spoke really well. I thought people like Councillor Stewart coming up spoke really well. There was a lot of things that were answered last night that are commonly thrown about by certain people about, you know, about the council, about whether they're fully behind it, about Y11's commitment. So a lot of stuff rumours were put to bed last night, in my opinion.
that's good.
But obviously our lads are out in South Africa.
Last thing to come out of the meeting that's worth saying because
I
it's the most
forgot.
important thing, wagging my finger about here, um, is that Lance said that they do intend on giving Tips a send-off game, one of the first games that we get, you know, once we get to St. Helens. He said that was the plan this season if we were going to get in this season. So hopefully that's still the case for next season too.
Nice.
Not gonna lie, there was some shithousery with comments that were going up on Slido about Tips Terrace, answer the tips question. Tips.
Yeah.
We put a question on because Justin's hat, who we follow on Twitter, was there, and we were
Justin's
like,
magical cap.
Justin's magical cap. Please make yourself known to us. We want to know who you are. So if we're ever near you again, just let us know who you are. I just want to know the person behind like the thing. And there's no secret that the players, when they had their meeting with the Welsh Rugby Union, came out quite strongly and were like, we want to play in Wales, we want to play for our region. And if I could not, or if me and Rod could not hero worship Jack anymore, do you want to say what he said, Rod?
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that. And you've probably seen this if you've had a look at our Twitter. But I said apparently, but people have come back at me saying it's categorically. Categorically, Jack Morgan has told the WRU that if he can't play for the Ospreys, he won't stay in Wales, which is, yeah, commendable. Because the more players that sort of voice their concerns, but also voice their displeasure, and their willingness to take their talent and all the attention and money and sponsorship and funding that comes with it overseas, then the WRU are going to suffer, aren't they? So yeah, it's good that our superstars are willing to put their neck on the line. It's at no detriment to himself. He ends up happy either way. He either goes overseas on a lot more money or he stays with the club that he loves.
Go to Bristol Bears
But it's
weekend,
good that he's saying it. Yeah. Go for cuddle with Genge.
But according to the Scarlet fans, he's a Scarlet through and through, isn't he? So that puts that one to bed at least.
Yeah.
Oh look, my glasses are falling down. I would just like to say, Jack, just Jack from Bryn Aman, I fucking love you. I love you. Not in a weird way because I'm old, but I just, do you know what? I love Freddie Flintoff. I don't know if anybody's been watching Freddie Flintoff's cricket programme. Freddie Flintoff is an epic fucking human being. Jack, you're there. You are up there with Freddie for me. I adore Freddie. I would fight a Care Bear for Jack Morgan.
Does that say a lot?
Well, I'm not going to fight a real fucking bear, Rod. Fight a Care Bear for him. I wouldn't walk through fire for him because it's a bit humid and my hair would go.
Would you give away all of your Labubus for Jack?
Yes.
That is praise. That is high praise. Wow.
I did put a question up as well, which Lance ignored, which was, can we have a Jack Morgan Labubu? And also, can we have Ospreys rugby shirts in Labubu size to save me from sewing one? Didn't answer me. But anyway, moving swiftly on. So our lads are out in South Africa. The URC has been great. They've allowed us, because we thought originally we weren't going to be in St Helens until the end of the year. Obviously, to quote Ross from Friends when he's trying to get his sofa in, we've pivoted. And we're now in Brewery Field for the year. Our tranche of first games is out in South Africa. We've got them out of the way. So lads have gone out to South Africa. They've all gone like kids going back to school with their new kit bags and their new kit. And they're out. They're out there. And we are facing the Bulls on Saturday. Not been successful against the Bulls ever. We've come close, I think, once or twice. We've been on the end of some beatings, three out of the five. But it will be interesting to see the team that is fielded on Saturday and to see us out there. Obviously, different altitude, temperatures and everything else. So it is a struggle to go out there and get something, but it's not like we haven't gone out there and won before. We have. So do I think we can win? No, I hate to say that. But do I think we can go out there and get some points? Yes, I do.
See,
Definitely.
I've kind of got a first day of the season positivity about this. I think we
Have
can win
you?
on Saturday. I know everybody thinks this first game of the season. We thought it against the Dragons and then shut the bed last year, didn't we? But you know, I think it's the first day of the season thing, isn't it? You know, we're playing the Bulls. They're going to be shorn of all their not all blacks, all their Springboks. First day always throws up some weird results. So
Yeah.
why not this year that will be the weird result that everybody goes, ooh, wasn't expecting to see that one today. So it's a good time to play them. Nice to get it out the way early. If we lose, it'll be what everybody expected. If we get anything out of the game, then it's a bonus.
Landed and we, do you know what I mean? If we come away with something, be interesting to see them have their first run out. A lot of the players have put some pictures up on their socials about the sports institute that they're staying at. It looks nice. All right, I know it's not a holiday, you know, it's not like they've booked a TUI and they've gone away, but it does look that they're in quite a nice environment with the facilities to be able to train, you know, and everything else. Does look as though Dan Edwards has gone out on a bit of a safari. I'm not sure whether I can see him looking at lions or whatever. Plea for me, don't try and feed them like I would. You might lose a hand or a finger. We can't be dealing with that this year, you know. Stay away from the animals. But really looking forward to seeing the run out.
Yeah.
To be honest, John's being really mean to me this year. He's refused to pay for me to have Premier Sports Channel.
No way.
Yeah, way.
How are you going to cope with that? I know there are other means of watching games that we can't possibly condone on here, but
unfortunately he's Popo, so I can't possibly entertain that. However, I think I'm worth the money for Premier Sports.
Just got to sell one of your Labubus to justify it.
You know what
It's
I
like
mean?
selling an organ.
Seriously now. You can have my kidneys. I don't drink anymore, so they're pretty in good shape. Like, so you're welcome to have those on the black market if you want them. There's piss all else about me that you could probably buy, if I'm being honest. I haven't got a gallbladder. I've still got a spleen. My liver's not all right, actually. Yeah, no, I'm screwed. My kidneys.
You're not getting Premier Sports then, are you?
Not really, mate, no.
I'll
I don't
send
know
you
what I can
WhatsApp
pull out of the bag.
updates.
Thanks.
Running commentary.
Well, like that, is it? Okay.
But no, I think we could do all right this weekend. Certainly with the emissions that they're going to have due to the South Africa play-in. I'm just looking at their team that played Leinster last season in the final of the URC, and there's quite a few names there that aren't going to be present. You know, you've got Wilco Low, Corbus Visa, in the pack. Then going into the back line, you've got David Creel, Kanan Moody, Willie LaRue. So we can anticipate that those guys aren't going to be there. And I know they're still a strong outfit, but there's areas that we can target. And if Marc Jones is, you know, prepared and is going in with a plan to maybe throw some, you know, heavy bodies at some of those gaps in the back line or some of the youngsters that we anticipate facing, then we could see something special.
I would be so excited, but I would be super pissed if I missed watching that on telly. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
You know, I'm really looking forward to seeing Dan on Saturday. I think the confidence now that he knows that he should be nailed on 10 for Wales is potentially a huge season for him. His confidence should be high. You know, seeing him playing a nice flat track on Saturday, you know, nice weather, chance to throw the ball around maybe a little bit as well. I think potentially this could be a really, really big breakthrough season for him where he can properly cement that 10 place for Wales and make himself a household name, I think. So I think it's a massive season for Dan.
I think for his age, it gives him the opportunity to show the maturity that perhaps his age doesn't, or that people don't think he has for his age, because I do think he's got the makings of being world class. I think we just need to nurture that really.
And give him time in the saddle. Run a
Yeah,
games, because
give him.
for the last 3, 4 years, nobody's had that. Costello, Johan Lloyd, Ben
Yeah.
Thomas. It's been so sporadic, and nobody's had an extended period of time in that seat to work through the niggles and make it their own. I think Dan's capable of doing that faster than anyone else. If he
Yeah,
can get into his stride and have a good couple of games under his belt, then he'll just be flying after 3 or 4 fixtures. Whereas, Costello's pretty slow to build up his confidence, and
and he's had
no
a
need to get
pet.
into that. But yeah, I think Dan's the person, is what I'm essentially saying. He's the person who
Yeah,
deserves that shot now.
he's number one. He is
Hmm.
number one. But I am, as much as I'm an Ospreys fan, I do love watching the other regions from a general sports fan perspective, but B, also a Welsh rugby fan in general, because I like to see what's coming through and what's happening. So I do love to see that. And I love to see people playing. I think in Wales we are quite critical of our players, and sometimes rightly so, but sometimes we're not very forgiving as a rugby loving nation. And I think we all need to remember that when we're getting frustrated, stay off social media. These kids have got enough on their plate without, another from, Abercombe Flimflel or wherever saying that they could do better with one shoe on and no socks down the local rugby club. Behave yourself. You couldn't. Stop it. Stop. So, allow these players to come into their own. That it's going to be a difficult year for them. I think for Ospreys, we had a difficult start to the last season with Toby Booth announcing his departure and then going Christmas time, etc. So we didn't have an easy start to the season. I think we allowed that to get to us mentally. This year now, we've had a really good, from the looks of social media, a really good pre-season. We look quite cohesive and together as a team. Marc has been there, for the best part of in that lead role for 9 months. So his stuff will start bedding in now. So I think we could see something really good this year. And I'm really hopeful of where we will end up at the end of the season. And I do think that we can go to South Africa and we can get something. Putting my poly positive pants on. But I think it's going
Haven't
to be
you
a good
taken a
scheme.
look? Have you taken a look, Mark, at all the sort of comings and goings in the regions?
Yeah,
Probably a
so I've just
good
done,
time to do
literally
that.
just a bit of a list. I've sort of tried to pick out maybe not necessarily the high profile ones, but just the ones that interest me a little bit, really. So,
Hmm.
having a look at the Welsh regions, like you say. Thinking about Cardiff, I mean, two names have jumped out to me, really. Tain Basham coming in from the Dragons into their back row, I think is a decent signing for them. And then the unknown one a little bit, really, is sort of Johan Lloyd coming in as sort of a fly half potentially, or as a fullback maybe. Obviously they've got Sheedy there as well. Whether it's going to be a bit of rotation for him with Sheedy, whether they play him at 15 instead of 10. And also he's been a bit Marmite at the Scarlets as well. I think some Scarlets fans thought highly of him, and others couldn't wait to see him leave. So it'd be interesting to see how he beds in with Cardiff and what role he gets to play for them.
Which is crazy considering that he was the URC's top point scorer last season
I know, mad, isn't it?
across the whole
Insane.
league, and they've got rid of him. I know he didn't really fit the game plan. I agree with that, but to let the league's top point scorer go is
It's
pretty
madness.
crazy stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just for him
definitely.
to go into another team where he's competing against another potential Wales fly half when
Yeah,
he's just left the same situation at the Scarlets with Costello.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, doesn't seem like a very well thought out move.
No, for either party, to be honest, for him
No,
or for Cardiff, really.
yeah.
For Cardiff, doesn't seem to fit either, really, does it? But
Hmm.
yeah, time will tell. Maybe he'll go back to the form that made him a Welsh 10 not that long ago, really. We're only talking 2 years ago since he was 10 for
Yeah,
Wales, maybe.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
crazy, isn't it?
Mm.
Dragons have done their usual scattergun approach, but there's some decent signings thrown in here as well. I mean, there's Wyn Jones and Dylan Lewis both coming in from Quins at prop. And then Robert Hunt, that we were linked with from the Cheetahs. I think we were linked with him for best part of 12 months, weren't we, I think?
Yeah.
But he's now joined the Dragons, and he's well in his 30s, I think, isn't he? 34, 35, maybe a very experienced player. But might give them that little bit of stability in the scrum. They had nothing, they had no platform, did they, the Dragons last season? So bringing in 3 props is a pretty big step for them to hopefully stabilise that front row.
And it sounds like in their warm-up game against the Scarlets, they pushed them all over the park. So it looks like they've improved.
Yeah, they beefed that up as well with Seb Davis coming in from Cardiff as well, so another big body into that pack as well. Interesting one, Mackenzie Martin, interesting, coming in on loan from Cardiff. I think that's an interesting move. Obviously, he was an international 18 months ago. Was it last autumn even, or Six Nations before that? I can't remember. He was sort of come on the scene, sort of the next big thing in that back row, and sort of drifted down the pecking order in Cardiff. So it'll be interesting to see. He's going to play week in, week out, you would imagine, in that Dragons team. So it's interesting to see whether he can regain the form that he had 12, 18 months ago. And then I think Tina Stabia at 10 is a really shrewd signing for the Dragons as well. He was, season before last, pretty much an ever-present, played pretty much every minute of every game for Cardiff until Sheedy came, and then sort of didn't get much opportunity last season. But, he's one of the players of the season the year before that. So, again, if he can refine that form for the Dragons, and that could be a really shrewd signing for them as well.
Yeah.
Our friends across the bridge brought an old friend back in Jake Ball, coming back from Japan. I don't think anybody dislikes Jake Ball. I don't think he's one of those players that everybody likes. He's just one of those characters, isn't he? So I'm sure the Scarlets fans will be glad to see him home.
Whether he's still got it is the question.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
He was in good form 5-6 years ago. Haven't heard much of him since. Whereas, like, say, Moriarty's gone and he's made waves elsewhere, and he's coming back with fans anticipating that he'll hit his old stride. Not sure about somebody like Jake Ball.
Yeah, I would imagine the Japanese league will be a little bit different to going to Leinster on a Friday night against their star-studded pack or whatever. It'll be a slightly different level of challenge for him. Maybe
he's going to have a shock when he's eye to eye with with Bird or somebody else. Or whatever, instead of some I don't know, barely reaching 6 foot Japanese.
Exactly. Otherwise, the Scarlets, their other big signing is Joe Hawkins coming in from Exeter. Could be a big signing for them potentially if he fits this, the style of play and everything. I suppose he's coming in as a centre primarily. He can play 10 as well, can't he, as well? So interesting to see how he fits into the squad. But I would imagine he's a fairly big money signing for the Scarlets, I would have thought as well. So yeah, that'll be a good signing, I think, for them as well. Across the league, just a few interesting names to throw in. The big obvious one is Rico Ioane, from the Blues, coming to Leinster. So they lose Barrett and bring in Ioane to replace him. So it just shows the absolutely ridiculousness of that Leinster squad and of the money that they can throw around, that they can bring in somebody of his quality. Just out of the blue, whatever. So absolutely nuts. JJ Hanrahan from Connacht to Munster is a good signing link for Munster as well. He's getting on a little bit, but he's a solid centre for them as well. And Angus Bell, prop, going to Ulster from the Waratahs Australian International. Should really shore up their front row as well and make them quite formidable in the pack as well. So a few interesting signings across the league as well. And obviously on our front, we've talked about them in previous pods, I think, before the end of the season, but Evan Daniel coming in at hooker from Cardiff. Ryan Smith from the Reds is going to be a great signing, unfortunately injured to start the season, but hopefully we'll see him soon. And then Moriarty obviously coming into the back row. By all accounts, he had a decent game in the Exeter friendly.
Yeah, we said he took a nice try. He wasn't, he was in people's faces, certainly. I don't think he was maybe as physically imposing in terms of gameplay as we know he can be, but, it's just getting back into the swing of things, isn't he? Certainly excited to see more of him.
Yeah.
So and the one you've missed there, Mark, is Harry Williams as well, from Ampthill.
Oh, yes.
He got a run out against Exeter, and he looked quite good, actually. He changed the pace of play in that second half, coming on for Lukey Dye, and allowed us to open up a bit more and claim a few late tries in the sort of final throes of the game. Yeah.
He had a good run out, didn't he? He
Yeah.
did. And like with Moriarty, I think there's a lot more to come from him. He did show that Moriarty niggle and feistiness at certain points. And I do think he's going to be a little annoying bastard, if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
but in a
I
good
think
way.
I think what I like now is that for the last 2, 3 seasons, we've had very loosey-goosey back row where everybody's playing across all three positions based on injuries and availability. Whereas now, I think we've got distinct patterns forming. We've got Ratty, Moriarty, potentially six as their preferred position,
Yeah.
based on how they play the game and their physical size. Then we can have Jack and Deves competing for the open side position, and then we've got Morse and Morris in the eight slot. So there seems to just be a bit more structure and a bit more thought that's gone into this now.
Yeah, definitely. No, that back row is looking very, very tasty, isn't it?
They're going to push each other.
Yes.
And with that kind of competition, you're only going to improve.
Yeah.
I can't.
We just got to hope they all don't get called up to Wales because they're all capable of it. Ratty's got a cap now, and Morgan Morse is knocking on the door. Morgan Morris is overdue his time in his opportunity to show what he's got, and Moriarty could easily go straight back into that squad.
There's no reason why he couldn't, really, is there?
Yeah, so we could find ourselves with absolutely no depth in that position come international window, and we're trying to quickly sign a release for Tristan Davis back from the Scarlets. Who knows?
Yeah. It's so weird though, looking at the fixtures we've got coming up now, and it's going to be so strange because by the weekend of the 24th of October, there may be one region that knows they're not going to be around anymore, or two regions. It's so strange to be starting a season with so much uncertainty that five rounds into the season, there could be a group of players that know that their team's not going to exist in 2 years' time.
Well, it would make so much sense to just do it, just to get rid of Cardiff now. They haven't got a coach and they haven't got owners. Just get rid of them.
Oh, you're being
WRU own
controversial.
them, so it'd be so easy to just fold them with no repercussions. And
well, they're not going to save themselves, are they?
I think that's the one thing we know, isn't it? That there will be a team in Cardiff. That's the one thing we're sure of, isn't it? It's the other three of us that don't know what's going on.
What's amazed me is they're obviously going to have to have paid Cardiff to release Shearer early.
Yeah.
So effectively, they're paying themselves. So they're wiping some of their own debt out, which kind of makes them a bit more attractive to buy. So is that a backhand way of saying jobs for the boys, but we make you a more this is my conspiracy theory brain going now. But
there's rumours on the number that's been paid as well, isn't there? As part of that release, they're saying 2 million, which would be well above what's typical. And if that is the case, that could be just
you ain't fucking worth that, mate.
2 million for a back coach.
Well, and I think the cynical presumption there is that they've done so just to wipe off that debt. But
good God.
Yeah, that's speculation. But I've heard the £2 million figure quoted.
Good God. No, just looking at the Dragons. I mean, I really hope that the Dragons have a better season this year. I mean, I felt so much for the Dragons fans last season. For Jamie and the pod guys, putting out a pod every week, having to talk about another defeat, and the defeats getting worse and worse and worse as the season went on, and then being less and less competitive as the season goes on. They've made a lot of signings. A lot of them could be positive signings as well. We said this at the start of last season for them as well, and I really, really want them to be so much better and to at least not be completely adrift at the bottom like they were last year. To be pushing at 15th, 14th. Even higher possibly, but to at least be competitive week after week, because it must be just soul destroying for that set of fans just to watch them deteriorate week on week last season.
But you've got to give it to them. They keep going.
They do.
They've got some of the best attendance numbers out of the regions because their fans are proper ride or dies. Like they really are, and you've got to give them that, like 100%. They are phenomenal with regards to that. But let's go balls to the wall. What do we think our season is going to look for us? Do we think we're going to be top 8? Where do we think we're going to be in our cup run? Are we going to prioritise one over the other?
We've got to be targeting top 8 again, because we've been within touching distance, frustratingly so, for the last couple of seasons. Season before last, we arguably deserved a top 8 spot, based on the number of points we'd accumulated, and in any other year that would have got us there. And then we lost out narrowly last year, didn't we? In that final fixture, was it against Munster? Or something like that. I can't quite remember, but
I'm rooting,
so
I'm not there.
we need to be aiming for that, because it's about improvement, isn't it, on paper? That will put us in the best position to go forward with all the uncertainty is to just have a really mathematically clear on paper improvement from the year before. So yeah, I want to be aiming high.
I think last season shows we can't compete on two fronts with the squad depth that we've got and the squad size that we've got. We got to that point in the season where we had to prioritise one or the other. And I know Marc Jones would argue that we went for both, but it was clear that the Challenge Cup became a bit more of a priority with the teams that were played across those 2 matches against the Scarlets, for example, where we were sent a weakened team across to Parc des Scarlets and then played a full strength team the following weekend in that European quarter, was it? I think like you said, I think we have to target the top 8, and I think that has to be priority. That's where our bread and butter lies in terms of getting into the better European competitions the following season, and just showing that progression, like you said, from last season to this season. Reality was, if we'd started as well as we, not finished, but if we started as well as that middle part of the season had gone last year, we probably would have got top 8 last year. So it's making a good start is imperative. And if we're in the mix then around Christmas time, then we can prioritise the league maybe above the cup and have that opportunity to rest a few players around those European fixtures maybe, and then really push to get top 8, or even, who knows, playoffs, top 6 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure that we win those quote unquote easier fixtures, because we surprised ourselves a couple of times last season by going away and taking some big scalps. Glasgow away coming to mind, obviously, but then we lost against the Dragons, and we lost against Cardiff as well. If we can just win 2 more of those fixtures that we should be winning, we would have got there. So it's just tightening things up, not losing concentration when we're going in as favourites, and harnessing that same sort of energy that we go into games when we're playing your Leinsters and your Glasgows and your sort of top 5 competing teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we can get something from those early 2 first games now out in South Africa, if we can bring some bonus points at least home from those games, even if we come back with 2 points from those 2 matches, then at least we're coming home with something that we can hit that zebra game, then that first home game of the season running, and go for the maximum points in that. And all of a sudden we're probably looking mid-table after sort of 3 games or whatever, with then knowing that we've got a lot of home games to come later in the season as a result of these away games early on.
But equally, don't get disheartened if we come back from South Africa and we're bottom of the table, because we haven't got any points, knowing that other teams are going to have their time in the sun.
Exactly.
So yeah,
you can't write it off just because of that first set of tranches of games.
No.
I really hope we get top 8. I hope we have a good cup run, because I love me a little outing. But that's kind of where I would see our trajectory going, and then not be afraid to adjust tack throughout the season depending on what we're doing, where we are, and what we need to concentrate on. There's no harm in that at all. But Marc, what's your game of the weekend that you're looking forward to?
Oh, do you know what? Such weird matchups this week because of how weak some of the teams, but because of the players that are going to be missing from certain teams.
Yeah.
So you'd look potentially at something like Stormers Leinster as being a really cracking matchup, but then you take away the Stormers Springboks players, and all of a sudden you make Leinster fairly heavy favourites probably for that one. You got Ulster Dragons is an interesting one. I think it's a good opportunity for the Dragons to show that they're competitive. Glasgow Sharks again should be a massive game, but the Sharks again are going to be short of their Springboks, so you'd expect Glasgow to be heavy favourites in that. So as much as I hate to say it, my game of the week is probably Scarlets Munster.
For me, I think it's maybe not my favourite game of the weekend I'm looking forward to, but an interesting one would be Zebra Edinburgh, because they're both teams that over the last 2 years have had very different seasons or very different blocks within seasons, both capable of pulling out results from the hat, but equally able to completely flop on the day. So that should be an interesting matchup to just see what their sort of standard seems to be going into this season. And equally, Connacht Benetton should be interesting in Ireland, because again, Benetton have been on a sort of upward trajectory, haven't they, as well as Connacht, and that could just be a tasty one, because I think those are going to be the teams that we're competing with this season in the sort of mid-table.
There's 2 points of interest there, I think, in that Connacht game. One is Connacht Benetton last season, I think, threw up 2 pretty high-scoring matches. And the second thing is just how crazy is Benetton's away kit going to be this season, because they always love a mad away kit. It's been interesting to see.
I love a mad away kit. I'm not gonna lie. I like those things. I'm currently bidding on, or I've favorited some vintage Stade Francais shirts on Vinted at the moment, because I particularly like the one with Mary on there with all the different Andy Warhol prints. Love the one with the like beige one with the tiger lilies and stuff on. So I'm like bidding on some of those, but I do love a crazy away shirt. I'm not gonna lie. I do like an unusual shirt, shall we say? But that's kind of our URC roundup, and we know we'll get more into it as the season goes on, and as we see things, we'll get a better idea when we see people's first outings and a kind of inkling. But
just quickly, is tipping anybody against to win it?
What was the question? You cut out to me a little bit.
Is anybody tipping anybody apart from Leinster to win this season, or is it a foregone conclusion before the season starts?
Well, but Bulls are capable, I think, and you never know what Glasgow could do again.
I think for me, it's boring that we're all sort of like sitting here at the start going, "Oh, it's going to be Leinster again."
It's not a good position to be in, is it?
No, I'd love there to be a bit of an upset. I really, really would. That would make me, nothing against Leinster, but that would just make me happy, because it means that everybody's more competitive. And it, the money that's thrown at Leinster is not having that much of an impact as to them being the eggs that, the golden goose that lay the eggs, so to speak.
The question is this the year that the Sharks actually do something with the quality that they've got?
They still got Plumtree in charge.
I haven't heard about him leaving, so presumably.
So in that case, no, then.
No.
But whether they can just band together as a group of incredibly experienced players and just override anything that's coming from above and just put in some good performances.
But it just goes to show.
They are not even close to the sum of their parts at the moment.
They were so rubbish to what they should be last season. They were embarrassingly bad for the players that they had last season.
But for me, it just goes to show that you can have the best players in the world from 1 to 23. If they don't click and they don't play together, doesn't matter how good they are. If they haven't got that cohesiveness, then it's not going to work. It's not happening. But that's kind of it for the URC this week. We have to mention the craziness of the Coventry RFC tweet yesterday coming out in favour of standing with their Scarlet brothers.
What is that all about?
So, it got sent to me last night, and I just think it's quite hilarious. So Coventry Rugby have come out with a statement saying, "Stand with Scarlet. As two historic clubs connected by shared values of community and a spirit that never dies, we know what it means to fight for recognition, but to protect our heritage and to keep our supporters at the heart of everything we do. At Coventry, we've walked a path full of challenges, and we know that resilience and unity are forged in those moments. That is why we want to extend our solidarity to Scarlets Rugby as you face the difficulties and uncertainty surrounding the Welsh regional game. Your fight is not only for your club, but for the thousands of supporters, players and communities who rely on the strength of your traditions and the future you are building. Like Scarlets, we also expect to face similar challenges in the near future from those who govern the game in this country. If left unchallenged, such decisions could inhibit our ambition and limit what our clubs are capable of achieving. But this will not deter us. Instead, it will galvanise us. Just as it has united the Scarlets community, we will not stand by and accept unfairness of the highest order simply to appease a few. We stand with you as a fellow custodians of rugby, past, present and future. Whatever lies ahead, know that Coventry Rugby recognises and admires the fight you are undertaking. The spirit of Scarlets, like that of Coventry, will not be dimmed. We are with you, Scarlets." Well, fuck my life, yeah, Coventry. Don't worry about this, don't worry about the Ospreys, don't worry about the Dragons, don't worry about Cardiff.
We all hate Coventry now then, don't we, as well?
Well, we're sending them to piss in Coventry.
Like
I'm literally like, fuck my life.
Screams,
do you not want to stand with the other regions? Like,
it screams House of Luxury takeover, doesn't it?
Well, the only link I can think of there is Dan Bigger's link with the House of Luxury, and Dan Bigger does a podcast with Andy Good.
Andy Good.
Got strong links with Coventry Rugby Club.
And they, Andy Good and Big Jim Hamilton have just taken over Rugby Club, haven't they?
Yeah.
Rugby RFC. Yes.
Nice. Wow.
They're called Rugby Lions, which is really confusing naming wise, because when you just hear people talking about Rugby Lions, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Honestly, right? Seeing that last night, I was like, I've missed something like literally fuck my life. Why you just, I remember the miners striking. Miners came out for miners everywhere. You didn't just pick like a certain pit or whatever. You stood with everybody. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's genuinely blown my mind. So been some really good tweets. I did one which has got a bit of traction where I said, they've got the same history as the rest of us. They've got the same fans, they've got the community, they've got the players. All of us are in the same boat. What's so special about them? And there have been some really good, really, really, really good tweets about it, with someone saying, "Can you explain why you believe the Scarlet should be treated as a Welsh case, a special case?" It's just insane. So
well, can I just make a quick shout out then, because I've just been reading Coventry's main rivals are Moseley RFC.
Go on, Moseley.
So if anybody's listening from Moseley RFC that would like to put out a tweet in full support of the Ospreys, then please do, and we can be merged as a team of fans loyal together. We can be twinned with Moseley.
We love you, Moseley. We do. We love you, Moseley. We do. We love you, Moseley. We do. Oh, Coventry, fuck you. But do you know what? All right, we need to bring the chants back. I loved that for last season.
Well, we're going to have a terrace to do it this year, aren't we? So we can actually
Ross Moriarty.
Yeah, we've got a terrace. We can get back.
Yeah.
We need chants. And I may sneak over at some points and go and stand with Rod, provided it's not raining or sunny or cold, which limits it. Really,
you're not coming
but
no,
don't be stupid. But that's it for rugby this week. And I haven't really thought about it random, but I did see something this week that kind of blew my mind. So my mum always does picky bits from Marks and Spencer's for Christmas. And the Christmas catalogue came out this week for the food. Now, like the Argos catalogue when we were kids, me and my mum usually go through it and mark what we're gonna order. And every year we do like a really nice tea on Christmas Eve. So we'll have like one of their really nice pies. Last year we had the shin of beef. We've had the beef Wellington before. So I was flicking through and I could see that there was this beef Wellington there. And Tom Kerridge, the chef, has signed up with Marks and Spencer's. And he's created this beef Wellington for Christmas. Do you want to guess how much this beef Wellington is on pre-order?
£65.
Oh, we're close. More.
Nowhere
More.
near.
Really?
95 £100. Really?
120.
140.
No
150.
way.
What?
180.
195 pounds.
What?
How big is it?
Is it like Wagyu?
Serves six people. Serves six people.
People.
For £195. I want Tom Kerridge to come to my fucking house and make
Dude.
it fresh.
Oh, the world's gone mad. That is.
My mum was
that
like, no,
is
we're not
mental.
having that. My mother was like, we're not having that. So what's something really insane that you've seen this week? Because that's blown my brain.
I don't know if we can top that. You've
It's
sort of blown
insane.
my mind. You haven't left any space in my brain to actually try and think about the question.
Well, there's that
Um,
Coventry tweet, obviously, but
Yeah, that was pretty
The
mind-blowing.
only reason
wasn't
I
it?
know that is when I was looking at the catalogue online, I filtered by mistake for highest price first. There was caviar and oysters and stuff there, which was over the 200 quid mark, which, fair enough. It's, caviar and whatever. But yeah, the highest thing, the highest on the menu, or joint on the menu, £195, is King's Ossiteria caviar with 25 spoons of caviar. All you get is the caviar. You don't get the blinis. You don't get like the salmon or the cream cheese or whatever. After that, then we got collection fillet of beef Wellington by Tom. And it is a whopper of a Wellington made with the most tender British beef. So it's not even Wagyu. Encased in portobello mushroom with smooth chicken mousse and a hint of black truffle.
You could get a side of pork for that and hog roast it.
Honestly,
and feed 20 people.
It's insane. John can cook. John knows what he's doing with a piece of meat, right? He's amazing. I could get a fillet of beef at my local butcher's for 50 quid, a really nice one. By the time you buy all the bits and bobs and the pastry and everything, you could do a really nice one for 75 quid and it would probably feed 8 to 10 of you. That's insane. More money than sense, man. Who's spending that?
that's mad.
So if you can't top that this week, then that is my random. Who's spending £195 on beef Wellington?
Yeah,
it's nuts.
And why are we even talking about this now? It's so early in the year. You were wearing a jumper yesterday covered in pumpkins. We shouldn't be talking about Christmas things.
That jumper was really cute, though.
It was a nice jumper. Yeah.
And the dog's got a matching one as well.
Yeah, John said.
Honestly, she's got a matching jumper, same as my pumpkins. And I'm literally just waiting for the Christmas ones to come out in next now because we had matching Christmas ones last year. And I'm hoping that I can get away with my jumper because I've gone down like nearly 3 dress sizes. So I don't know if my jumper this year might make me, might look stupid on me. So I will get us new matching jumpers this year. But honestly, you've got to think about it now, Rod, because when you are responsible for doing Christmas and organising Christmas, you will realise that you have to book stuff now. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't book it now, you are screwed and you won't get anything near Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what? I think we're going to have wildly different answers here in what's an acceptable date to start Christmas. for me, I always used to go really, really late because in school we never broke up until the 19th of December, and I could never start thinking about enjoying Christmas until we'd done all the plays and the
Everything.
parties and the fetes and everything else. So for me, Christmas never started until 20th of December. So it'd be interesting this year, without being
How
in the
you
school
feel.
context, is it going to start sooner? I think if I ask you two, there's going to be a period of months in between your answers, I reckon. So Rod,
Literally.
when's an acceptable date, Rod, do you think? And then we'll go back and see how far before Sam reckons it is.
1st of December.
Okay. See, that's reasonable, I think, 1st of December, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sam's not going to start in August. Go on.
No. Right. Up until the 31st of October, I am your Halloween gal. Like,
Okay.
I've got the pumpkin cardigans, I've got a jumper with a Highland cow on inside a pumpkin. Nightmare Before Christmas, Jack Skellington, This Is Halloween, that kind of crosses over, so I can get away with my Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. 31st of up to 31st of October, I am your full-on spooky gal. 1st of November hit, Michael Bublé's out, Mariah Carey, my ringtone on my phone has changed to Wham! Last Christmas. Bam! I'm in Christmas mode.
Wow.
Tree goes up midway through November.
The real question is, when does everything get torn down?
A week after Christmas, after New Year, New Year's Day.
Yeah. See, in our house, Becky wants to put the tree up sooner and sooner every year. So last year, our tree went up on about the 3rd of December. By about the 15th, she was desperate to pull it down.
Done doing a lead.
So it came down on about the 29th of December. I think it was down before New Year because she was sick of it. So I'm going to remind her of that this year when she's nagging me on 1st of December to put up a tree, that she was sick and tired of it before Christmas had even come last year. So I'm going to go back to my 20th of December this year.
Well, we'll see how we get on. This is enough Christmas of Christmas now. We're done. Spooky.
I can't believe we've ended up here. How did we get here?
It was the beef, £195 beef Wellington. That blew my mind.
Christ.
I couldn't not share the cost of that with you because it was like, I thought I'd read it wrong. I was like, 95 quid. Yeah, I paid like 70, 80 quid in years gone by. I put a 1 on the end of that. I had to show it to John. John was like, yeah, that's 195. That's insane.
Wow.
Like, absolutely insane.
That's how much the Scarlets are going to get sold for, isn't it?
What, IKEA West Wales? To be fair, I could do with an IKEA down West Wales because me and my mum do live an outing to IKEA, but it's easier to go like 25 minutes to Trostra than it is to go to an hour in Cardiff. So I'm okay with that. Like, don't send me hate on like socials. I don't care. But that is us for this week. It is technically 2 more sleeps until URC Eve for us. So, enjoy where URC Eve. Have a lovely weekend, whatever you're watching. Rod, you can keep me updated because my husband's mean and not like facilitating my rugby watching. And Marc, it's so nice to have you back. Really loved it. Big
Enjoyed
time. Or is that in it?
Kids are doing that now, aren't they?
What the frick is that?
That's genuinely what they're doing. That's the new love heart. Yeah.
God, okay.
What? I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't even do that. What?
Yeah. That's easier than that.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's come out of Asia and like K-pop scene. But I think it's the preference because you can do it with one hand.
I'm all over K-pop Demon Hunters. And
well, you weren't all over that, were you?
Pop. All right, I'm 48, mind. I can't have my finger on the pulse of everything. But that is us. We're back. We're back next week, back to normal schedules and everything else. So as always, lad, been a pleasure. If you've loved listening to this, please like, comment, subscribe. All on the bottom of the banner. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Spotify, we are on YouTube, we're on TikTok. We're all on there together as Black Feather. We're all on there individually. Give us a follow if you want to be nice and interact. From me, I would like to say I loved meeting Geraint and Sian yesterday. Thanks, Geraint. You've made my day.
I felt so left out. And I have to say that photo it was a little bit worrying how Geraint just slipped into my role in the middle there so easily.
Not saying we're going
So
to
I'm gonna have to
replace you,
watch him.
Mark,
I think
but
I'm gonna have to watch him.
We might replace you. You know. So love meeting Geraint. You know, absolutely loved it. Give him a big hug and everything. We love speaking and seeing people out and about. So we are one big happy community. And as someone said on YouTube, it's a bit like listening to your two mates having a chat on the bus. And that's the vibe we want. So thanks for staying on this journey with us. To whoever listens and watches, we really appreciate it. We love doing this. I think even if we had one manless dog listening, we'd probably still get together and have a natter on a Tuesday. So like, comment, share, subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.